Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here. Welcome to another tip, trick, or technique session. In this session, we're going to talk about bass frequency splitting. So firstly, if you are new to my channel, new to my videos, and you like what you see, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. So bass frequency splitting. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about a concept that is done probably more in modern take, not something that would have been done, definitely not in the past, not in the, old time style of mixing, unless they use some advanced techniques. But what I'm talking about is, say, taking a bass guitar and splitting it up into different frequency ranges, and then processing each of those frequency ranges differently to sculpt our bass to exactly the way we want. And it could be changing the sound of it entirely. It could just be enhancing the existing sound to not sound totally different, but just get it to be exactly the way we want it to be, which might be very small, minute things. Now, in the techniques that I'm going to show, there's two sort of ways that you can do it. Now, this is not obviously a rule, but mine is about splitting it into either 2 tracks or 3 tracks. Now, if we split to 2 tracks, we're going to have sort of a low end and a top end. If we go for 3 track, we'd have a low end, a mid range, and a high end. And we split that up into individual tracks, and then we can process each one individually to get the perfect bass sound that we want and to bring out the character that we want. If we want to bring out the low end but not the top, we can do that. If we want to bring out the mid, we can do that. If we want to bring out the high, we can do that. Now, obviously you can do that with EQ and stuff like that, but splitting it up this way can give you even more greater control over that. So let's get into it and I'll show you what the hell I'm talking about. All right, so we've got a bass guitar here and it basically sounds like this. All right, so what we want to do first off is we want to duplicate this track. Now, this can be done with different bass passes. So if we had a DI bass and an amp bass, we could do this same processing between the 2 tracks. We could pick one to be the low end. So we could say, okay, I want the DI to be the low end because a direct in usually has a nice low end to it. And the amp, we could say that can be our higher range. But if we don't have that and we have one single bass, we do the same thing, but as I said, we duplicate it. So now we've got 2 bass tracks, but they're exactly the same right now. So all we've done right now is make them sound louder. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to ignore all this processing on here at the moment because that's what we had in our original track. So I'm just going to take all of this off. So we have no processing on either of these basses now. So what we're going to do is we're going to load up a plugin called Frequency, which is a part of Cubase Pro. It comes with Cubase Pro Standard. Okay, so we've got that here. It's an EQ. The advantage to this is that we can actually run it in linear phase, which is sort of advisable in this situation here so that we can get our clear separation without creating phasing issues between the 2 of them. So we're going to say the first one here is our low end. So what we're going to do is we're going to determine what we want to do. Now we can run all the low end here, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll off a little bit here. So let's say we're going to roll off at 40 Hertz. And I'm going to do a cut at a 6 dB cut there at 40 Hertz, just to get rid of a little bit of that low end rumble there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add another cut here. And we're going to bring this all the way down. And this one here, we're going to do at 12 dB, and we're going to bring that all the way down to 175 hertz, or 173. That's good enough. Okay, and we're going to put these into linear phase, just so it's all nice and clear here. Okay, so let's just listen to that one bass now. So let's turn the plugin off. So you can hear there, that's just our low end now. So we've got our low end attacking on that side. And then what we want to do is on our other side, we want to do the same thing, but obviously in reverse. So I'm going to do a 12 dB cut here, and we're going to take that up to as close to 173 as you can. Let's just say 168 there. And we're still going to do a bit of a roll off here, but we'll do that at about 8K. Just because the bass is pretty much sitting in this realm here. Okay, and what we can do is, if we want to bring a little bit of this top end life out, so let's just have a listen to that first as is. So obviously that sounds quite thin because we've removed the bass out now, but what we can also do is we can do a bit of a boost here also at about At about 4K here. We're going to try and we'll find a nice spot there just to get a bit more of the clickiness out. So we'll say about there, 2K. Just gives it a little bit more life in there as we do that. All right, so all we've done at the moment, other than this little boost here, is we've just separated the two out. So if we listen independently to each. And then if we put them together. We get a nice balanced bass, but we haven't really done much. All we've done right now is just done a little bit of a boost here, which we obviously could have done on our entire bass track as it was. So now what we want to do is start to look at processing these individually. So our low end here, what we could do is say, let's say we want to grab a compressor here, and we're going to go with a vintage compressor. And we're just going to listen to that low end. We're going to do a fair bit of compression on this. So what you'll hear there is, because I've done some heavy compression with a fairly quick release, what we're getting out is we're extending our low end, we're keeping that low end ringing out for a lot longer, so it's going to fill out our mix a lot with a lot of low end. So our low end's not going to disappear as much, and it's going to sit there nicely. Okay, but this processing here may not have sounded very good on our higher end of the bass. So this is why we're doing this separation, because then we can process each part independently and get the best results out of each component. Okay, so let's bring the two tracks together and let's just have a listen with this on and off. So we'll bypass it first. So you'll hear there's a big boost in the very low end of this bass. Okay, so what can we do on our top end here to create some more life in the top end? So in this case here, we might want to add a bit of distortion to get a bit of grit out of this. So let's have a look at, say, we could add a bit of a bass amp here. So let's find some sort of preset or something. Rock bass drive. That sounds pretty good. Let's have a listen. So we'll just listen to that by itself. So that's adding a fair bit of grit to that top end there. And let's just apply another compressor on top of that. And this one we'll just grab the tube compressor. Add a bit of character, a bit of drive. All right, so we've obviously affected that quite heavily. So let's just, again, let's bypass those two plugins there. Just have a listen and bring them both in. Okay, so big difference there. So let's bring both of our basses in now, and then we'll bring that in to have a listen to how that impacts it. So we've got a nice sort of distorted sound bass, but with a very nice, clean, thick low end here. So again, the advantage of this is that if we had have put this processing on our low end part of the bass, it would have distorted the very low end of the bass, and it would have just potentially ruined the entire sound of the bass. Whereas at the moment, we've just infected the higher part of the bass, and we've left our low end nice and clean and boomy and thick. Okay, so what if we want to take it to another level again? All right, so now I'm going to duplicate that track again, and now we're going to split this into 3. So we're going to leave our low end exactly the same. So we've still got our same processing here. We've got our same frequency range set up for our very low end one. And our mid here, now we're going to change this a little bit. So now we're going to adjust this. Again, we're going to take that off. And what we're going to do is this time we're going to leave the low part the same, but we're going to bring our top down. So now we're going to bring this down to about 2K. So if we take these away, now what we've got is this. As opposed to that. Okay, so we've adjusted our frequency range now to be about 170 hertz to 2K. So we're just targeting our mids of our bass now. And we've got our same processing on, so we're using a bass amp here, driving it a little bit. You know, we could maybe reduce the gain a little bit on this one. So it's adding a little bit of grit, but not too much. And we've got our tube compressor going here as well. And then on our third one here, let's just turn those two off. We're going to change our range here. And this one now we are going to leave our 8K roll off here. And we're going to move this one up to 2K. And we'll just have a listen to that. We'll just turn that boost off for the moment. Okay, so we're not really hearing much there. So we might adjust that because it's really not got much in the top end there. Going to bring that down a little bit to there. We'll just add our peak in. Okay, so it's very low in volume, but you can hear it a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go and adjust this one as well and just bring that down a bit to match. Okay, so with this one here, we're going to, instead of a bass amp now, I'm going to go with a guitar amp. So we're going to load a VST amp rack, and this is more of a guitar style here. So we get it, and the reason we're doing a guitar one here is because we are targeting the top end, and obviously a guitar amp does not concentrate so much on the very low end. So we could pick anything here. I don't really know what we want to pick, but we'll just pick random settings here. Okay, so we've really targeted the top end and the presence and some mids here. All right, so this is really pushing things out a bit, and we'll apply a tube compressor again. Bit of drive, bit of character. Let's push our input up, get some compression going. Okay, let's just check this preset here because it sounds like we've got some delay. Let's get rid of some of that. The gate can stay there. Okay, yeah, I could hear some delay going on. Okay, let's get rid of some of these gates cutting off. Okay, that's better. All right, so we've processed our top end now differently with a guitar amp. So we can get a little bit more grit, concentrate on the top end there, and you can hear the difference. So let's now bring those out. Okay, so let's have a listen to all three basses together without our top end presence. So you can hear there, we've got a really low end thickness going on. Our mid-range sounds nice and a little bit gritty. And we've got a lot of top end coming in with a lot of that rattle and pick and that. Now, of course, you may not want that, but this is just something to obviously know that you can do that to get that out. So just as one last thing, I'm just going to duplicate this original track again. I'm going to drag it before it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that all off. Okay, so what we have is this is now our original bass sound. And here is our new bass sound with our 3 tracks. And you can obviously adjust these settings to taste. If you don't like that top end so much, it's a bit too present, bring it down in volume. Back to our original. And our new bass again. Massive difference there. A whole new set of life to that bass. The first one almost sounds boring. And again, this is all dependent on your song and what's going to suit your song, okay? But doing this can give you the greatest flexibility to sculpt that bass for your song. So there you go, that is bass frequency splitting. Let me know what you think of this technique in the comments. Obviously, this is not something for everyone. This is a unique approach. Well, not unique, I did not come up with this approach. but it is not something for everyone. It's not done on every song. But let me know if you have used this technique before. Is it something similar to what you do? Do you do it a different way or a similar process? Do you not do it, but you're thinking about doing it? Or do you hate the idea and think, why the hell would you do that? Let me know in the comments. Love to hear your opinion. If you have any questions about this technique, if I didn't explain it properly or it's just something you didn't quite get, please feel free to ask in the comments. I'd love to help wherever I can. Again, if you liked the video, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. Hopefully the video has been helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.